Yes, I am late to talk about the anime this season. No, I'm not, sorry. The spring 2020 season of anime is in a little bit of a strange place because some of the shows that were supposed to be airing had to be delayed due to COVID. Also, several of the series airing right now are sequels to well-loved franchises, but if you haven't seen the original series of these, then you're only left with a handful of new anime this season. Of course, who isn't caught up on Kaguya-sama and Food Wars? Or worse, who hasn't seen them at all? So for completely unrelated reasons, I'll just be talking about the new things airing this season. We're gonna skip over all the continuations. Also, I'll be limiting my discussion to just the first episode or two of each series, just to steer clear of any spoilers. So let's go ahead and get the big one out of the way. I think I'm one of the few people who's actually not read Tower of God yet, despite so many of my friends telling me that I need to get in on it. And let me tell you, I'm glad I haven't, because going into this anime blind has been a really cool experience. Basically, the plot is about this guy named Bam, who is climbing through a mystical tower in the hopes of reconnecting with a girl who saved him from a hole or something, I don't know. Each floor of the tower has a test that he has to clear before he can advance, and there's also some kind of society that exists outside of the floor advancement structure. The first episode sets up the tone really well, while still having some mysteries to keep you leading forward. I mean, honestly though, this episode has everything. Cool tests, a scary rabbit, this waifu, and a talking sword that hates women. If I could level any criticism at this show, it would probably be, what kind of a name is Bam? Who are his brothers? Whack and Pow? Please laugh. I'm not yet on board with the groups who say this is going to be the next era-defining shonen, but I absolutely am going to stick around to see what happens. I love a cheesy high school battle anime as much as the next guy, but what I really enjoy are anime that depict adult life post-college. And there's startlingly few of those. I'm glad that this season we have Name yo Kitekure to kind of fill out this niche a little bit more. So the show revolves around a woman who starts working as a radio broadcaster after a producer airs her drunken rant about her ex over the radio without her knowing. The show has a very deadpan humor, which I am all about, and the characters act like real adults. In a way that sometimes is entirely too real. The art style in this one sits really well with me. It's not super abnormal or anything, but having adult characters drawn like adult characters is kind of abnormal for the anime industry. The style kind of reminds me of Hinamatsuri, which I also loved. This one won't be for everyone. It's on the dry side, despite some over-the-top moments. I'm not sure yet if this is like an anime with a plot or just a workplace comedy, but either way, fans of shows like Shirobako will want to stick around for this one. I try to pick an oddball show or two every season to watch, and so this time around I thought I would try Gallon Dinosaur. Let's check it out and see what we've got. Dog, what? I'll be honest, I'm not entirely sure who this show is for. It seems to be taking some influence from Pop Team Epic, but this is just so much slower. I actually wondered for a minute if I'd goofed and picked up a kid's show by accident, because this feels like a series of bad Sesame Street inserts. The art style is kinda neat, the dinosaur is just... I don't know, man. A weird mix of cute and horrifying. But I almost didn't even finish the first half of the first episode. But it gets weirder. Much like Pop Team Epic, the second half of this episode is just a retelling of the first half, but with a few minor differences here and there. Just minor stuff, you know, like there's an extra skit, or, I don't know, it being entirely live action, and the girl from the first half is replaced with a middle-aged man, and the dinosaur is a person in a costume. And the sound effects for this part.
Merry Christmas.
Who does this? Who do I need to blame? Or thank? If nothing else, the show is a goldmine for reaction gifs. And then, spoiler alert, the dude just eats it. I think, and then this Shinigami-ass looking dude is all being edgy. I have no idea what is going on in this show. I don't even know, just what the hell, man. It's like having the lamest fever dream ever. It is just so mundane, but it's bizarre. It's awful. And you know what? I'm gonna keep watching it. Kakushigoto is an early frontrunner for cutest anime of the season for its loving portrayal of a doting father who is obsessed with making sure that his young daughter doesn't find out that he draws lewd manga. Hime is pretty much the sweetest kid ever, and if anything ever happens to her, I will hold the entire anime industry responsible. Luckily, I don't have to worry about that, because this show is a lighthearted comedy that is way heavier on comedy than it is on plot. And man, are there some absolute gems. More proof that Starbucks is a cult. There are a ton of puns in here, and some of them don't translate all that well, so be prepared to have some extra reading to do. The art style is also really cool. It does this weird, like, textured shading thing with the hair in some scenes that adds a lot of flavor. I'm not an art student. And damn is this show heavy on the waifus. It throws 3 frontrunners at us in episode 1. God help us if any more show up, or World War III may actually happen in 2020. I'm totally joining this girl's army though. After hearing about it from some other people, I was expecting Gleipnir to be a complete shit show. And you know what? It is. It's not the complete trash heap that I thought it would be though. At the least, the first episode is no worse than the first episode of Future Diary. Not that that's a very high bar. The animation is way better than I'd like to admit, and the character design isn't half bad either, except the main character's beast form, which to be honest was a complete letdown for me after all the build-up they had going for it. Even the story is like, okay, for me the main problem here is the characters. Anyone who's ever seen an edgy anime before has seen Spinophobe McGee as the main character. That's nothing new. What's irritating to me is that for the first half of the episode, I thought the character was pretty interesting. I was really invested in him. I feel like his personality as it's set up early on could be really cool in like a slower drama anime or something like that, even once they throw in the twist that he's got some kind of weird beast form. But definitely before they show that weird beast form. But this isn't a drama anime, it's an edge boy cringe fest. And he just doesn't work in here. The lead female also gets 0 points for me. Look, we've all seen a yandere or two in our time, and the thing that really sells them is the moments of humanity that they show. Even Yuno Gasai has points where I don't totally hate her. But this girl is just a sociopath. There's nothing wrong with having a sociopathic character. It's just when she's part of the main duo, and the other half of that duo gave up their personality 10 minutes in, I don't really have any reason to sympathize with their plight here. If you like shows like Future Diary, this is far from the worst alternative. I just feel like this has already been done way better by other shows. And with less furry dominatrixing. I was actually a little bit let down when I started watching My Next Life as a Villainess, because I thought that it was going to have like a bad guy protagonist that was still sympathetic or something. Something like Overlord, but more lighthearted. Unfortunately, that's not what this show is, but that's okay. A girl finds herself reincarnated as the villain from a dating simulator that she played while she was alive. Unfortunately, that character dies in almost every route. Rather than embrace her role as the antagonist, Katarina Kleist decides to reinvent herself so that she can avoid all of the death flags that she has memorized. It's a neat twist on a typical isekai in a few ways. It's got a female protagonist. She doesn't realize she's been isekai'd until she has an oopsie when she's a kid. And then we get to watch her grow up from that point until she enters the school where the plot of the original game takes place and where her ultimate doom potentially awaits her. Seeing her unintentionally change other characters' perspectives of her is pretty fun too. The Council of Lowlies has spoken. This anime is pretty neat. All of these anime are pretty good, as I'm sure are the sequels that are airing at the moment. But there wasn't much this season that really drew me in the way that I'd hoped. Until I took a chance on an anime about a guy who'd lost his way and a girl with a crow. I'll go ahead and confess to having seen more of Sing Yesterday for me than I have of any of the other anime that I've mentioned. But that's because I haven't been drawn into a show like this in so long. It's easily my anime of the season so far and could go on to be my anime of the year for 2020. Rikuo starts working at a convenience store after he graduates from college, and he feels like life is passing him by. Things start to change for him when he reconnects with an old flame from his college days, and when a new quirky girl shows up who seems to know an awful lot about him. The theme of feeling lost after graduation and going in circles while you watch everyone else progress past you is something that a lot of people can relate to. But the main driving factor in this show is the superb characters. There is more character development and progression in any single episode of this anime than there are in entire seasons of other similar anime. But it never feels like it's moving too fast, it's just going at its own pace. It avoids a lot of the tropey situations that you see in other dramas, and characters actually resolve their problems by talking and listening, like humans should do. It feels like it's populated by actual adults rather than by characters who are just trying to hit the beats of a drama anime. Despite being a drama though, it never really feels all that stressful. I feel really chill watching this show, which is kind of abnormal, but it works. I already know the show is going to stick with me for a long time, but with a planned runtime of 18 episodes, it's just getting started here. There's plenty of time for it to get better or worse, but I already know that I'm in for the whole ride. All I know is that if Truck-kun sticks his nose anywhere near any of the characters in this anime, I'm gonna go play in a crowded intersection. So that sums up everything that I've taken note of this season. I may go into more detail on one or two of these after they end in a later video, so let me know down in the comments which one you want to hear more about. Did I miss your favorite? Tough shit. Tell me what I'm missing out on and maybe I can add on some more later. Be sure to subscribe for more anime content, because apparently I think I'm an anime channel now or something, man. I don't know. For now, I'm Spoons and I'll see you next time.